Hey, so welcome, Michael and Anu, and to all those who are watching the recording. Because, first of all, a very, very happy Diwali. Today, is the culmination of the Diwali celebrations in India today. Today is a special day for brothers, for siblings. And after that, it's kind of a close. So it's almost a week-long celebration of Diwali. And like how Mohanji says, right? Diwali is also, again, brightness, coming out of the darkness into the light. So it has been an amazing week, I'm sure. And for those of you who have not celebrated Diwali, I'm sure the spirit of Diwali, you felt it. So welcome all of you once again. Welcome, Sharada. Namaste. And all of you watching on MAI, we've been getting good feedback from many people who are watching the recordings later, and they feel really connected, and they seem to, many of them have written into us saying that they like the recordings and they like the feeling very inspired. And they're also able to connect with so many we've been discussing earlier also. So I really wouldn't like to miss any of the Sundays for this reading. We'll keep it going at least till Monji's birthday. So hopefully with Monji's blessings, this continues. And I'm sure we'll have many more Guru Leela books coming up with all your writings, with all the inspirations, with all your experiences and things happening. So, welcome once again. And today we can start with Guru Leela Book 4. Okay. So, again, you'll know the story. We have spoken about it earlier about this painting. If you can see this, and how this lady had painted this in spite of being, heavily pregnant towards the end of her term, and she painted this and book cover. So it's a beautiful, very, very inspiring book and aptly titled Mohanji and I. This is something very close to, the testimonials team, Mohanji and I. We had come up with this name for the YouTube and for the Facebook page, and then it came out in this book also. So Mohanji and I, it's something, it gives you that feeling of oneness and connection with Mohanji, doesn't it? Yeah. So in this book, actually, yes, in this book, actually, strangely, many of them are written by anonymous people. I was just going through all the chapters in this book and I noticed that many, and today what I'm going to read to you first is called Mastering Crisis, and it's written by somebody who signed himself as Mohanji's shadow. It was so beautiful, Mohanji's, and a very, very powerful testimonial of that. So let me start reading that to you, okay? January 2014. Mohanji says, doubts will happen, but do not allow them to stay. This is precisely what his follower did. He was filled with so many doubts and disillusioned by religions, saints, and spirituality. Watching Mohanji in close quarters changed all that, and he sought forgiveness from this great master who walks the talk and leads by example. It's a very interesting tale. I'm very excited to read this to you. So here it goes. Shri Shri Mohanji, my sincere apologies to you for doubting you, as I write this for the sake of spiritual seekers across the world. Perhaps those who understand my mind will find the right answers and happiness. Many of you may have experienced the same thoughts. Those who stay with the superficial can't be helped anyway. Even now, I'm surprised that I'm writing this. I'm generally a skeptical person. I'm inspired by people like Miss Sabrina, Mr. Zoran, and Miss Palak Mehta, who are bold enough to share their intimate life and the transformation that happened to them in the presence of Mohanji using their name. I admit that many of us do not have your guts or conviction when it comes to faith. I often feel that I'm a spiritualist who only takes from everyone and never gives. Many of the seekers of the world are like me. We live in a fake world with fake people. We are all here to take something from saints without wanting to give anything back to anyone. We are generally selfish people with a few exceptions. I'm a rational man and never quite believed in God at most times of my life. I never quite believed in spiritual people because I considered that the godmen who live in or visit our Delhi area are either criminals in disguise or con men to power brokers for politicians. I believe we are not exposed to real saints who need nothing from us or do not come to our part of the earth. Perhaps there are some real ones in isolated places. This is not about scriptural knowledge. This is about the true stature of the saint. I have always been skeptical about the whole Hindu religious structure with its multiple gods and many rituals. I was deeply disturbed by the class divides based on the caste system within Hindu life, which I strongly believe is held intact by politicians for the sake of votes. When I was doing my engineering, I realized that in addition to hard work, if one wants to be successful career wise in India, one has to be born into certain specific castes. In a way, this divide has still left a scar in my mind. I strongly hate discrimination. The worthy should be honored. Thus disturbed, I decided to explore Christianity. I became part of a Christian group. However, as I became regular with them, I saw the rich and the poor's clear, apparent classes. The priests befriended me for only for one reason, conversion. And I saw how they subtly manipulate our insecurities. Everyone approaching the places of worship is in some kind of trouble. They become fair game for conversion. They are either brought in by agents whose deep display of benevolence is usually appreciated by the depressed. They are also deluded in believing they have reached heaven and will not be discriminated anymore. Soon after conversion, they are no longer needed by anyone. To stay in favor, they must bring more people for conversion. I also understood that conversions were associated with headcounts and votes. Votes mean power, position, power, manipulation. That goes the story. I believe that the Hindu system and saints lack unity. Each saint isolates himself in self created comfort zones, fighting wars with other saints. Thus, they maintain the class difference. After having seen it all, I decided that being neutral and aloof to this mad world of religion was the right way of life. Spirituality is certainly good. Religion is not. Religion only amounts to divisions. Thus, I had stopped searching and I was quite content with myself and all my deficiencies. Then one of my colleagues introduced me to the name Mohanji. I spontaneously Googled and discovered he is responsible, reasonably famous abroad, though little known in India. My first thought was that perhaps he lacked a PR company to support him. When I first saw the picture of Mohanji, I was, as usual, quite skeptical. Another guru. These guys are doing it for the money. Guru Dam is big business these days. During my college days, I had approached many gurus and had paid huge bills for some group courses that changed nothing inside. I was not the least bit interested in Mohanji because I was reasonably prejudiced about gurus in general. Our media always makes it a point to scandalize Hindu gurus for political gains. Then I happened to come across Mohanji's blog, The Path of Pathlessness. I felt a lot of genuineness in his words and I got many answers. The next blog I read was The Power of Lucid. I also found that quite interesting and genuine as we have been indoctrinated to win. Thus, I read more and more and gradually moved into the Mohanji consciousness. After a few months of reading and digesting, I decided to attend his next program in Delhi. I waited. After a few months of waiting, he came. I attended his program. I was eager to hear him talk and interact. My mind still held some skepticism. I asked a few questions, and his answers were straight and no nonsense. In a way, I liked it. He was definitely not trying to impress. He seemed to have his own experiences from where he was deriving the knowledge. There was no quoting of scriptures, no blaming other religions, and there was no nonsense. He just said everything in a matter of fact way and left the place without any ceremonies. He seemed genuine. I chatted with one young lady clicking away at Mohanji with her camera, which he did not seem to notice, and asked her, "What attracts you to Mohanji?" She said, "He's genuine, he's fearless, he genuinely cares without expectations, he's totally unconditional." Later, as I chatted with another person, I learned much more about Mohanji than what we could glean from the blogs. He's married to a foreigner, he has a baby daughter, has a corporate job, earns his livelihood through work, and calls a spade a spade. He has even angered some of his close followers by telling them bitter truths about themselves or scolding them out of love. If he is bold and cares about truth more than a relationship, then he is genuine. I always loved people who were truthful and straight. If he is so truthful, then he is needed in today's world of pseudo spirituality. The world needs Mohanji. Thus, my first meeting with him from a distance became a good memory, and I developed the urge to be with him and associate with his movement. I found his team were mostly youngsters, and they loved him as a father, brother, close friend with whom you can share anything and everything, or as a guide more than a guru. There was a sense of familyship within Mohanji's group, no hierarchical feeling. Moreover, Mohanji is on social networks such as Facebook. He takes calls. He answers emails himself. He is available to people without fees or barriers. He has no inhibitions, fears, or apparent taboos. He encourages people to do dharmic business and feed the poor. He is concerned about cruelty against animals. He is against female feticide. I became more and more attracted to Mohanji, and more than that, to his lifestyle. He seems to live his teachings. He seems to be active in business life, charity, and spiritual life. He seems to have no inhibitions as seen from his pictures in various costumes and situations. A bandana and dark glasses for a guru. He has no frame, no image barrier. Good. Perhaps I have found my guide. I still wanted to take more time through, though before addressing him as my guru. I was still not sure. Then I heard most people calling him father in Delhi, and that suited me too. In November 2013, Mohanji's charity institution Ammu Care conducted a concert in Delhi for autism awareness. I felt inclined to support that in my own way because I found genuineness in the young team members' eyes. There was a deep love for Mohanji and the mission in their hearts. These youngsters were ready to do anything for him, and they called him their father. There were no barriers. I started liking it. At that time, I heard of an accident involving Mohanji's young daughter. She suffered an 18-foot fall and had head injuries and hemorrhage. It was very serious. His wife also was injured in her head. Suddenly, a gloom spread over the whole group, and there was a rumor that the concert would be called off. I thought, how can that be? If Mohanji is living his teachings, he will not permit anything to stop. How can a personal matter affect a mission matter? I felt inclined to visit the hospital. Again, my skeptical mind was in action more than any sympathy. I deeply apologized to Mohanji for any mistake I committed in my mind in this regard. I know Mohanji never judges any person and loves unconditionally, so I have no guilt in me. When I reached the hospital, I must admit I was quite surprised. The first thing I saw was an unconscious Mila, Mohanji's daughter, and Mohanji sitting next to her bed, his hand on her head, in deep meditation or communion. There was deep peace on his face. A few people were around the bed. Mohanji sat there for a few minutes and got up as Mila was taken away for examinations. Mohanji was behaving with everyone as if he would otherwise. No anger, no anxiety, no fear, and no emotions. He even had a smile on his face. His face calmed everyone. As I was leaving, I heard one person talking about the concert on the phone, perhaps to a concerned volunteer. The concert must happen, Mohanji said. The show must go on. Well, my question was answered. The mission is beyond the man. I visited the hospital twice. Both times, Mohanji's face was calm and free from worries. I watched him from a distance. I could never imagine myself being like this if something should ever happen to my children or my wife. Mohanji's wife Biba, who's Devina, was also injured and was in the ICU of the hospital along with Mila. It was indeed an uncomfortable situation. Many people visited the hospital and many people called Mohanji, offering money and support. He was thanking everyone and refusing offers of all kinds of support. I also heard some people complaining that they were not informed about the accident. I felt amused by this comment. If this happened to any of their family members, would they sit down and start calling people, or would they sit in prayers of healing? I was totally convinced. Mohanji lives his teachings. His outward expressions reflected his inner peace. If it was not so, panic could have reflected on his face. His little daughter in ICU, and he was absolutely calm, a clear sign of walking the talk. It is easy to preach theories. Most gurus of today are unmarried. They have no children. They have no domestic responsibilities. Here is one guru who is terrestrially just like any of us, but clearly above us in consciousness. I felt totally blessed. This incident and my visit to the hospital changed me so much, much more than any speeches, meditations, or books. I had to see the practical side of a true guru. I had to see the truth. Here was the truth. I must add that Mohanji's followers who were gathered at the hospital also displayed absolute calm and purpose. There was no panic. There was total dedication. More than dedication, there was genuine love and care in their eyes. No wonder Mohanji calls his people family. The family ship was visible. Also, there was no overemphasis of the situation, nor any attempt to take undue advantage of anything. The hotel employees of Oberoi, where the accident happened, told me that Mohanji and the whole group were perfectly elegant. They had offered rooms to stay in and many other services, but nobody used anything. A true guru never wants anything, nor will he take advantage of any situation in a selfish way. I think I've written too much. My name or identity does not matter. Mohanji says that we must be fearless and egoless when we deliver the truth. The truth will protect us. Though I understand this, I come from a very orthodox, skeptical family and so would like to keep my identity confidential. However, I want the world to know about Mohanji the way I have seen him. He's a true master who walks his talk. The biggest test would have been concerning his own child, especially since he had gone through many personal pains in his past. He remained totally calm and elegant even during a deep crisis of this kind. I would compare it in terms of my own state if it were me in that situation. A crisis tells the truth. What brings forth this equanimity? Total faith, total conviction in the tradition and God, total faith in oneself. This one lives his teachings, mastering crisis. He walks his talk 100%. Ah, Jai Mohanji. I think this is one of those testimonials where it really talks about Mohanji more than, our experiences, how he always walks the talk. And I've seen this many times. In fact, unless it's a tried and tested thing that he has done for himself, he doesn't ask the others to do it. Even recently, I learned that any small thing, he would have tried it and then he will tell the others, go to this place, get this done. It could be a treatment, it could be anything, it could be a fasting, it could be any sadhana, anything. He would have tried it and then he gives it to us. Wow. What a beautiful, and this is a person who has been with Mohanji in the beginning, in 2013, 2012, that time, and he's witnessed this in close quarters in 2014. What an amazing, amazing experience, isn't this? This really talks. That is why these testimonials are so, so important, I feel. Anyone would like to share anything?
I mean, Reiki, I would
Yeah.
agree wholeheartedly with that. It's an incredibly honest sharing that I think speaks to everybody, because everybody will have doubts to a degree. Some people have more faith from past incarnations; they come with it, and therefore it's natural. For some people, there's more of a skepticism, which is demonstrated here, and I have to say a healthy skepticism as well, because I think Mohanji says that as well. Take time to make the connection, because it's important that you have a strong foundational base upon which your faith then grows. Because I think this idea of faith and experience is really important, because I think Sri Aurobindo used to say that faith is an intuition leading to experience, and Sati Sai Baba makes it clear that experience without faith, it doesn't mean anything. You must have that faith, and how you develop that faith is a very personal thing, I think. And just a couple of Christian references, because I need to throw them in, I think, because of what he was saying now. It strikes me like this is like a St. Paul Road on the Damascus conversion, sprinkled with the doubting Thomas aspect as well, because of course St. Thomas, doubting Thomas, eventually went to India. In fact, he landed in Kerala,
Yes.
where he basically, obviously, I think, was exposed to the traditions of India, as well as obviously what he'd experienced directly with Jesus. And I think his personal blend of Christianity, or that expression of it, was very heavily influenced by his experience in India. I just throw those in because of
No,
his
and
experience
also his skepticism about Hinduism was also there.
Yeah, exactly. But this is an incredible sharing, and and just very honest. And I think it's helped everybody that will listen to this and read that story, because they'll just resonate with themselves.
Absolutely, absolutely. In fact, when you spoke about St. Thomas, we have a church here in my town, in the city I live in, and he had set foot here.
Right.
from Kerala, he had to come down the peninsula around to my place, Chennai. And we
Yeah,
have a beautiful church, and it's a very, very popular church and a very ancient one. So, because he had set foot there in that
yeah,
particular place.
yeah.
So, and that was when the conversions and everything, because that area where he landed was a big Hindu place. Totally Hindu. Anyway, it all doesn't matter, but it's all in the mind ultimately, the skepticism and like how Monji, like how very nicely you said it, Michael. You confirm for yourself and then plunge in.
Yeah,
Don't
exactly.
take anything at face value or word value. It's so
Absolutely.
true, isn't it?
Yes.
It's very, very amazing testimonial, and I love the way he had written it as Mohanji's shadow. After not accepting a guru for a long time and then getting into the shadow of Mohanji, that itself speaks a lot. And when you read this, you come to know what kind of a person Mohanji is. Really.
Exactly. But also, what Mohanji did, and I'm sure this affected many people, it brings out in other people who experience what is actually going on more of their true selves, and the courage that it took this individual to write about the doubts, and even the fact that he went to the hospital with that sketch in his mind. Many people will keep that hidden, but the fact you've got the courage means that your heart is open, your heart is full, because when your heart is full, you have that courage. Nothing else matters, just the truth. And I think that's what came out of the sharing.
Yeah, very true. That's exactly what has come out. And he also says, right, it took him some time to share. He
Yeah,
couldn't share that easily. He was speaking about Palak Mehta and others, but it took him some time to share. It happens to many of us, we are always doubting ourselves, doubting everything.
yes.
And then finally, only when we read such testimonials, we come to know, oh, yeah, this is true.
I can hear I can see Aloha smiling here. I think this is touching Aloha as well.
I'm sure it's touching all of us, even Anu and Shankaran too. Aloha, you want to share something?
No,
No, no, no. Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Anu.
no, I didn't mean to share anything. I just said that is so true about the testimonials because, I held back because I didn't know whether it was worth sharing. But then I think I personally find when I wrote mine, and I even for myself on a personal note, when I read it back, it just still makes me, fill up and makes me tearful. So if not help anybody, it's helped myself rereading my own testimonial, even if I held back so many times. So it's such a powerful thing to do.
Yeah. Anu, thank you for bringing that up because this is exactly what Mohanji says. He started the Early Birds Club also with this an idea, all the things that we do in the mornings, journal everything, journal your experiences, not only to share with others, but when you go back, like you said very rightly, you were welling up, right? Tears were coming, and that happens. And not only that, you understand from point A to point B, C, D, how far you have traveled. Your
Absolutely.
transformation curve, it
Mm.
shows even that. I have little things, in a notebook where I have written small things, my Kriya experiences. And I just sit and do my Kriya. One day there'll be a lot of tears, and one day there'll be nothing, and I will be very angry even during the Kriya. All those things would have happened, but I've noted them down. And that has helped me to know now how much I've stabilized.
Absolutely. Like even like I'm too lazy to write things down, but lots of time I'll send like a voice note to Subhashri or Shama. And then sometime I go back onto my phone and I listen to those voice notes, or something has just suddenly happened and I'll be like, oh my God, this has happened and I need to let them know. And then they'll be really calm and I'll be like, this excited child, guess what happened today? And and then they're like, oh yeah, like obviously they've seen it and heard it at the time. For me being like relatively new, so I've saved up every single voice note I've ever sent to Subhashri or Shama or anybody in Mohanji family. And what I do is I go back to them and listen to them. And then like you said, I can just see, like these days I'm like I'll be a lot calmer, but then I can feel that excitement, the tone of my voice when I was relatively new and I'd never seen anything like this. And even now I still get excited, but it's slightly different and I can see my own journey for better for worse. And I just feel grateful, like, just moan a lot less about myself now.
That's wonderful. Now that you are inspired and you know how far you have traveled, now you can start inspiring others also through testimonials.
That's true.
Just nudging her a little to write it down. You can, put them all together and see what comes up for you. And I mean, it's
Yeah.
just a thought, just a suggestion. You
Yeah.
should do it when you feel it's right for you to do it. Yeah. Yes. Thank you
Thanks.
so much, Anu. Thank you for
Thank you.
sharing. Yes, Alua, you were saying something.
Yeah, I just wanted to say that I totally agree with everything Michael said, that I really appreciate the courage of that person. It is beautiful. I'm really grateful for that. That would be my feedback.
Thank you. In fact, I had seen Mohanji ill or Mohanji's foot hurt and limping, but nothing ever stops him.
Yeah.
Nothing.
Yeah.
So,
May I just mention what we were talking about, I think, before we went on air? The testimonial that was released today by Madhuri, it's incredible. I mean, I just want to mention it's incredible. But what didn't come out of it, and what you shared before we came on, is that Madhuri, as you said, doesn't really have that personal, physical connection with Mohanji. That it's actually a connection from this. I think you had mentioned that Madhuri had only met Mohanji once, and yet all these.
I don't know, once or twice probably.
Yeah.
That's it. And in this, she's written that she spoke to him on the phone. So
Right.
I
Okay.
know that she has not been meeting him regularly, like many of
Yeah.
us do. We try at least, once in 2-3 months, wherever he is, try and meet him. She hasn't done that.
But
And her
that
connection is so deep.
And that's developed through japa, through meditation, through spending time with focus, with conviction, that consistent conviction and connection to Mohanji. And
Yes.
these experiences have happened, which it's just amazing.
Yes, yes. So please read today's testimonial. It's a beautiful testimonial by Madhuri. Because I remember Madhuri, I connected with her, I think during the pandemic 2021, 20 and 21. And at that time, she had started doing all these things, all the practices, her POP, regular POP. Amazing. And the kind of, she has shared a few, though I will be a third person trying to narrate something. It will not come out as well. There are more testimonials written by her earlier also, and you can have a look at that. So it's an amazing, incredible journey for her. Even her brother is also deeply connected with Mohanji. And I know he's met Mohanji definitely, but with Madhuri, I'm not that sure.
Okay.
Not much. Maybe once or twice. I think that's it. Amazing. But everything happens in dreams for her and in the deep connection that she has with Mohanji. That's what I was telling Michael before we, went online. So, yes, I know, Alua, you're so surprised. Yes, Anu, please share.
Oh, when you just talked about because I read the same blog that Michael is talking about, and I want to I've just shared it with Shama. So I started this yoga session, and there's this lovely young lady who's come from India not that long ago to UK, and she's running these online sessions. So somehow it just got connected, like only online. I'd never met her face to face. And then she came, we just had a little thing in our house, so we met her. So I've only met her once or twice, but we somehow just connected. So we were doing the food, like I did some Annadan Seva in Manchester. So I was just saying, sorry, I'll have to miss the lesson because I need to set off early and things like that. So she said, oh, I'll be interested if you do something, because where we live is quite rural in the Lake District. So I just mentioned, oh yeah, like, how do you do, are you linked to a organization or something? And I said, yeah, like, this is my guru. So I just sent like Mohanji's, just a tiny little, like the quote of the day we get normally, just a little picture. And this was like at night, I think must be 11:30, because she was going to send me the link for the next day's yoga session. And then suddenly she just said, I forwarded all her written messages to Shama because I just didn't know. And So she's a Shiva devotee. She's never met, obviously, Mohanji. She's only met me now. She's never heard of Mohanji. She's reading this and she suddenly just said, oh my God, I could not bear to look into those eyes. So I was like, what happened? And then suddenly she went really quiet and I was in bed, like texting her, like, oh, have you sent me the link for? And then for 10 minutes, nothing. So I was like, I hope she's all right. So basically, essentially, from what I perceive, she looked into Mohanji's eyes on the quote of the day picture, and she literally had this sharp electric sensation from her heart center all the way to the crown. And then she went into meditative state and couldn't come out. That's why she could not reply back for like 10 minutes. And she's never met him. And she was like, and then I sent her the new, the Diwali message of Mohanji, because obviously I was just like, and I was telling my daughter, because my daughter, she's quite young, but she's connected, like very deeply connected to Mohanji. So I was like, oh my God, what shall I do? Like, like this is, and I'm like, I'm just well jealous because Mohanji has done Shaktipat, but I never feel anything when he does that. And this woman doesn't even know him. She's literally never met him. She looks at his picture and she can't. And she said, when the new Mohanji's Diwali greeting thing, where Mohanji is in the middle and it says Happy Diwali, be the light. She said, Anuji, she called me Anuji. Anuji, when you send me this, I had to go all the way around the readings and had to actively avoid looking at the eyes because I was in the middle of the day. I knew I would go into the same state. She said, my heart says I will go into the same meditative state if I ever look into his eyes again. So I can't bear to look at his face. So she had to read around that little poster about the wishes because she can't bear to look into his eyes. And I was saying to my daughter, what's wrong? And then she was like, Mommy, remember, it's your individual journey, what Mohanji says. I was just like, oh my God. And then all these teachers, then I definitely convinced that obviously my daughter is here to teach me because she always teaches me. Our children are our best teacher. And then I was like, oh, I'm sure she's here in our life to, like to take us to obviously yoga, but she does very, very traditional yoga. So quite a bit of meditation and quite a bit of understanding because she's so deeply connected to Shiva. So I've got a feeling that, how we know that Mohanji is Shiva Tattva. That's probably is what has happened. And she literally was just like, I'm been, yeah. So that was the quote. The guru happens to you and he burns you. That quote recently, Michael, it was shared. He happens, he burns, with Mohanji in the water when he's swimming and his hair are wet. That was the first quote I shared. And she's been saying, oh, I really hope you're so lucky you've got a guru. I really hope. And then this is what happens, like literally the next day. And I was just like, I don't even know what to say to her. And yesterday we had a Diwali party in the village and I met her yesterday and she just stuck to me. And then other women, because obviously we've got other women, she just shouted, she said, why are you two glued to each other? Are you going to get up and dance or eat or do something? Because her and me, my yoga teacher and me, were just glued to each other, just talking about her experiences, my experiences and our journey into this. And it just became like a satsang in the middle of a Diwali party.
Yeah.
So beautiful. What
So,
an
yeah.
amazing, lovely sharing this is, Anu. Thank you so much. Really, it really touched my heart, because of many people like this, like her, instantaneous connection. It's like Mohanji says, right, that it's just one spark is required. It is
Yeah,
probably the spark
that's
from
what
the
I'm
eyes.
yeah, because she was telling me how she went to Kashi. She's got a little girl, she's 1, and she said when she was pregnant, because she had really severe preeclampsia with the previous child. So she was ended being admitted and all. So she just thought whatever she needs to do, she has to do it while she's pregnant. So she went to Kashi and she's really devoted to Shiva while she was 5 months pregnant, despite all the previous complication for the previous pregnancies. So I just felt like she's done her japa and tapa and everything already. So all she needed was that little spark, like Mohanji said, just look into his eyes and then boom, it went. And she said that it didn't even stop after she texted me back, after she came out of the meditative state. So that, like how now I know that how I feel with the heart center expansion, that palpitation kind of feeling, but not quite palpitation. It's like a calming palpitation. She said that went on until the next day, next afternoon. So it just didn't stop all through the night. Even after she'd come out of that state 10 minutes later, it just carried on until next next day afternoon, just by looking into that picture.
I mean,
I shared it with Rama. Yeah.
I mean, it's incredible, isn't it? Because I mean, what you're describing there, I think is what Mohanji and others said, that you got an unlit camphor inside of you, and
Yeah.
look how camphor very easily catches light at the
Yeah.
right moment. It's
Yeah.
exactly that. But Madhuri was also saying in the article that was published today, she saw Mohanji and the connection with Shiva really, really clearly, which is what you
She
just been
did. Yeah.
describing as well. Yeah.
Mm. Yeah.
Jai Mohanji Kishore.
Is it Kishorji from Mohanji's Home for Seniors?
I don't think so. This is
No.
someone else. No.
Okay, sorry.
Jharkhand. He's from Jharkhand.
Yeah.
What an incredible sharing that was. Thank you, Anu, because this is really something that, many of us, and see, Anu, automatically the little bit of comparison, the doubt comes in. Oh, it doesn't have, I'm here connected with Mohanji.
And
that
then
was so cute and so truthful and honest, right straight from your heart, Anu. Thank you for that.
Thank you.
You were saying something, Anu, in between? Sorry, I interrupted.
No, I just meant like, and for my daughter to correct me. That's even
Yeah, that
hilarious.
is so cute.
Remember, mommy, it's your journey. No comparison. She said. I was like, oh yeah, thank you.
Wow, that is so cute, really cute. It shows her understanding, isn't it? Hi, Kishore. Jharkhand, you're from Jharkhand, okay. We just finished our reading. Probably you can go back to the recording and listen also. We were actually today talking a lot about Mohanji, on how he is, how he leads by example, how he walks the talk. Yeah. So I think this is really nice. We should read only one testimonial, and all of us should bring in our sharing to the table and speak about it. I mean, the way Anu shared today, it is just amazing, really beautiful. I loved it. In fact, yesterday somebody else from the US called me, and she's also new to Monji's family. She's not met Mohanji, but the connection she feels. And her little daughter, I don't know how to share it with you all. Her little daughter had to do some work in the school, 7-year-old, okay? And it was about my hero. I don't have my phone with me. I'm going to put it on my Facebook page. Okay, so y'all can see it. My hero. And she has drawn Mohanji.
Oh.
She's just seen his picture.
Yeah.
It is so cute, the little drawing there, and she's written little things about him, why she likes him, why he's her hero. So I'll definitely share it. Maybe I'll put it in the My Universe, our Universe WhatsApp group, because it was so cute. It really touched my heart. The innocence and the purity of the child, Imagine my hero, normally 7-year-olds who talk about your dad or your brother or something, and this girl speaks about Mohanji, whom she has not met. So that's how it is.
I have to say, thank God, because the youngsters, the children, the young people, they're the future, aren't they? I mean, for me, I'm at the fag end of my career, so to speak. but well, it's true, though, isn't it? I mean, let's face it. I ain't a spring chicken anymore. But we need the youngsters coming up, so much. There's so many challenges in the world, and at the end of the day, it is the young people that are going to transform this planet.
Yes, very true. That's why, our MYC group, Mohanji Youth Club, they're doing wonderful work. And Mohanji is really focusing on them, and they're doing amazing work. Very lovely work. You get to see that, isn't it, in all the WhatsApp groups? Wonderful work. So yes, you're very right. The youth have to come up and, yep. So anything else? Any sharing? Anything? Or we can wrap up for today? Yes, Aluata. Yes.
Yeah, thank you. Because I really wanted to share, but I didn't know where to share because we have so many groups, right? And it's like, yeah. So I've been feeling really down, and like I have run out of will to live. I thought, oh my goodness, what do I do? Do I ask for a Maitri session and stuff like that? And then what I did, I started watching Tea's and the team's video with Mohanji, on fragrance.
Yeah,
Did you see it?
yeah,
Yeah.
And
yeah.
I've been rewatching it throughout the day. But after a couple of cycles, just after a couple of cycles, my energy, came back, and I felt alive, like properly alive. Not like we breathe and we exist, right? But actually alive. And for me, it was such a blessing because I needed to raise a frequency, and that it happened like this just after watching this wonderful video by the team. I also wanted to tell her, once more how much I appreciate it, because it's such a piece of art, where Mohanji reminds us that he loves us, that he's with us, he is us. And also when they start showing the nature, you realize that, it's him. The nature is him. He is the nature, and when they start showing different parts of other civilizations, like they probably showed Egypt, Turkey, and other parts, and you realize, it's also a part of us. It's such a beauty of, yes, that was my sharing. Thank you.
Oh,
Beautiful.
beautiful.
Yeah.
Beautiful. See how it has uplifted you. This is what is the connection about, isn't it? This is the connection.
Mm. Can I just say something else? It's just connected off what Aloe said about how she feels about nature, and also bringing in Anu, who's living in the Lake District. I mean, I used to walk a lot of mountains in the UK, and I've walked most of the mountains in the Lake Districts. I used to carry a camera, and I used to take hundreds and hundreds of pictures, because I was trying to capture the beauty that I saw in nature. But one day I was standing on Haystacks, which was Wainwright's peak. He loved Haystacks and the view. And then it suddenly hit me that what I was trying to do was to capture a feeling of beauty within myself. It just hit me like, I can't capture on film what it is I'm feeling. That feeling's within me. And since that day, I didn't take pictures. I just realized that once you connect inside of yourself with that beauty, and you realize it's you, and nature is showing you who you are, as Alua just said, the experience she just had watching that and realizing that that was within herself. Once you have realized that, it can't be taken away.
Absolutely.
It's yours. So that was my sharing of Lake District and Alua.
Michael, I can totally relate to you, because I have stopped taking pictures of the scenery or anything around me, because it's what you carry in your heart.
Exactly.
Nothing, it's your memories and what you carry in your heart. And again, this brings me to another tiny story. It happened yesterday. we were just sitting at home, and we said, okay, let's go for a drive. So we went for a drive, and then we decided, okay, let's go to the old places where we used to stay, and let's visit this particular temple, which we had not, a Hanumanji temple, which we had not visited for years. And there was a time when Mohanji had asked me to take a lady to that temple regularly, not to that particular temple, to a Hanumanji temple. And I used to take this friend of mine daily, almost every week, to that temple. And then we went there. Like you said, Michael, memories. Memories of me with her, memories. And, we went and parked the car in one place. I looked up, and that was a house where my aunt had lived, and I had grown up in that house. So many memories came flooding in, and there was no end to it. I don't know why it happened yesterday, but for almost an hour, every place I visited, everywhere we were driving around, memories, all childhood and, years behind, many years ago. So it's all, that, and it really gladdened my heart and expanded my heart. And I immediately reached out to that friend whom I had not spoken to for a long time. That also happened. I said, hey, look, I went to this temple where we would both visit, and it went on like that. See
Beautiful.
how connecting the dots one after the other, we can continuously, I think, speak about it. So many things to speak about. It's very true. Everything in nature is, and that particular video, it's so beautiful what Alua has spoke about.
Yeah.
Really amazing video right there. Yes. So I think we are almost even time with all our talking, but very interesting talking. And I'm sure those who are watching us also will join us next time and share. I'm sorry, my throat's again gone. So we'll call it today. Yeah, we'll meet again.
Thank you.
On next Sunday. We'll meet again.
Thank
Okay,
you.
thank you
Thank
so
you, Jai
much for joining in,
Thank you.
and have a lovely Sunday. Jai Mohanji.
Jai Mohanji. Thank you.
God bless.